What if the future of driving didn't need a driver at all? What if the steering wheel, the brake pedal, and the human behind them became relics, symbols of a past when humans, not algorithms, ruled the roads? And what if the company that built the world's most powerful search engine quietly became the one that built the world's safest car? Because that's exactly what happened. While headlines obsessed over Tesla's autopilot and Cruise's flashy demos, one company, Google's Waymo, was quietly perfecting something far harder, a car that could truly think for itself. And by 2025, it wasn't just an experiment. It was a fleet, a profitable, fully autonomous service carrying hundreds of thousands of passengers every week, with no driver in sight. So how did Waymo win the self-driving race that giants like Uber, Tesla, and General Motors all joined and somehow lost? To answer that, we need to go back to the start before Waymo even had a name. The Secret Project. The year is 2009. Inside Google's secretive X Lab, a small team of engineers led by Sebastian Thrun, a Stanford professor famous for creating Google Street View, and Anthony Lewandowski, a roboticist obsessed with autonomy, are working on a classified experiment. It's called Project Chauffeur. The mission is simple, but impossible at the time. Make a car drive itself for 10 different 100-mile journeys without a single human touch. They start with a handful of Toyota Priuses, loaded with spinning LiDAR sensors, cameras, and prototype computers. They drive through Mountain View, California, under fake company names, dodging suspicion. For 2 years, Google kept it a total secret. By late 2010, the numbers are staggering. 140,000 miles driven fully autonomously. No accidents, no steering, no human input. When the New York Times finally breaks the story, the world is stunned. Google wasn't just indexing websites anymore. It was teaching cars to see. But what truly made Project Chauffeur revolutionary wasn't the hardware, it was the brain inside. Traditional automation followed rigid rules. If this, then that. Stop for red, go for green, yield to pedestrians. But roads don't follow rules. Drivers cheat yellow lights, cyclists wobble, delivery vans block lanes. So the Google team built something new, a probabilistic model. It didn't just detect objects, it predicted their intent. The system guessed what each road user might do next. Would that cyclist swerve? Would that pedestrian wait or cross? It was the first time a car treated other drivers not as moving geometry, but as humans with goals. That subtle shift changed everything. From prototype to proof. By 2012, Google's modified Priuses had quietly surpassed 300,000 autonomous miles. They'd driven through mountain roads, city traffic, and the chaotic curves of San Francisco's Lombard Street. The results were undeniable, but regulators weren't ready. Autonomous driving wasn't illegal, but it wasn't defined at all. Nevada became the first state to take the leap. In 2012, it issued the world's first driverless car license, a red plate labeled AU0001. It belonged to Google's self-driving Prius. Behind the scenes, the team was evolving. Lewandowski left to start his own ventures. Thrun remained as the visionary voice pushing the limits of autonomy. And yet, Google's engineers faced a massive problem. They could only learn so much from real-world driving. The world was too unpredictable, too dangerous, too slow. So they built a clone, a digital replica of Mountain View, every streetlight, crosswalk, and pothole perfectly simulated. For every real mile driven, they ran 10 simulated miles. Every near miss became a test case. If the car made a mistake, engineers patched the code, ran the same scenario 50,000 times overnight, and only then allowed it back on real roads. This test-in-sim philosophy became Waymo's secret weapon. While competitors raced for flashy public demos, Google was quietly creating mathematical safety. The spin-out. By 2015, Google had proven that self-driving cars worked. But making them safe wasn't the same as making them useful. That year, something remarkable happened. A man named Steve Mahan, who was legally blind, took the first completely autonomous ride on public roads in Austin, Texas. No steering wheel, no pedals, no backup driver. It was a symbolic moment, the world's first true driverless passenger. But Google knew it needed more than proof. It needed a business. In 2016, the project spun out into a separate company under Alphabet Incorporated. They called it Waymo, short for A New Way Forward in Mobility. At its launch, CEO John Krafcik declared, "We're now an independent company within Alphabet. We're moving people and things safely and easily, with the world's most experienced driver." It wasn't marketing fluff. Waymo's autonomous system had logged more miles than every other company combined. The spin-out unlocked two crucial things: a dedicated budget for custom hardware and a clear business mission. Ride-hailing first, logistics second. The company began designing its own LiDAR and radar units, shrinking costs from $75,000 per sensor to just $7,500. They rewrote their entire software stack, swapping CPU-heavy fusion models for TPU-accelerated neural networks that processed data 70% faster. By the end of 2016, Waymo wasn't just an experiment anymore. It was a commercial-ready, fully autonomous platform. The Phoenix experiment. If you wanted to build a city for driverless cars, Phoenix, Arizona was it. Wide lanes, predictable weather, cooperative regulators. In 2017, Waymo shipped 600 Chrysler Pacifica hybrids to the city and launched its early rider program, inviting 400 families to test the service. Each ride generated detailed feedback. "The car hesitated too long at this stop. It creeped me out when it turned here." Every night, engineers reviewed the data, patched bugs, and hot-loaded updates to the fleet before morning rush hour. By the end of 2018, something historic happened. Safety drivers started stepping out of the cars completely. Waymo launched Waymo One, the first paid autonomous ride-hailing service in the world. Within a year, real-world miles doubled from 10 million to 20 million. Simulated miles hit 4 billion, and the disengagement rate, the number of times a human had to take over, fell below 0.1 per 1,000 miles. That was 10 times better than any rival. The Waymo advantage. By 2019, Silicon Valley was in a frenzy over autonomy. Tesla bragged about full self-driving. Cruise promised robotaxis in San Francisco. Uber poured billions into its advanced technologies group. But when the dust settled, all three hit walls: technical, financial, and regulatory. Tesla's vision-only system misclassified a stationary trailer, causing fatal crashes. Cruise lost its license after a pedestrian was dragged by one of its vehicles. Uber abandoned the project entirely. Waymo, meanwhile, didn't rush. It built trust first. Every line of code was tested in simulation, validated in closed tracks, and then deployed cautiously in cities. Its cars weren't perfect, but they were predictable, transparent, and safe. In peer-reviewed studies, Waymo's crash rate per mile was 76% lower than human drivers. It wasn't just the safest autonomous vehicle, it was safer than people. Behind that success was redundancy by design. If the radar failed, the LiDAR cross-checked it. If a lane marking disappeared, high-definition maps corrected it. Every sensor, every decision node had a backup system ready to take over. This cascading redundancy model became a gold standard in the industry. And Waymo's deep neural networks kept evolving. An LSTM model could forecast vehicle trajectories 10 seconds into the future. Every car on the road was learning, not just from itself, but from every other Waymo on Earth. Each night, the fleet uploaded 20 terabytes of data to a central repository. Each morning, improved driving behavior rolled back out across the network. Waymo's self-driving brain wasn't just in one car, it was in all of them. Scaling the impossible. After Phoenix, Waymo's ambitions grew fast. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Austin. Each city brought unique chaos, hills, fog, unpredictable drivers. To handle that, Waymo built something called the Digital Twin Pipeline. It merged city CAD files, traffic signal timings, and crowdsourced pothole reports into a live, ever-updating 3D model. When a city painted a new bike lane, every Waymo in that region knew by 5 p.m. Underneath, thousands of microservices synchronize these updates without breaking a single line of code. Waymo's approach wasn't about speed, it was about scaling safely. The company also struck manufacturing deals, like one with Jaguar Land Rover to produce 20,000 all-electric I-Pace SUVs, factory-ready for autonomous integration. By 2020, Waymo's hardware costs had dropped another 60%. Each car was cheaper, smarter, and more efficient than before. While rivals hemorrhaged billions, Waymo hit something almost unthinkable in this space: unit profitability per ride. That meant every trip earned more than it cost to operate. Even Uber couldn't claim that. Patents, protection, and power. By 2021, Waymo wasn't just leading, it was defending its empire. The company held over 3,000 patents worldwide, with more than 92% still active. Its U.S. patent grant rate stood at 97%, far higher than Tesla's. Everything, from its laser diode system to its anti-spoof GPS watchdogs, was protected by intellectual property law. If competitors wanted to match Waymo's precision or reliability, they'd have to license its tech or start from scratch. This massive patent moat became an invisible fortress. Even regulators noticed. When new companies applied for driverless permits in Atlanta or Miami, they were asked to submit Waymo-style transparency reports on safety and testing. Waymo had collectively rewritten the rulebook for autonomous vehicles, beating Tesla at its own game. For years, Tesla's Elon Musk mocked LiDAR, calling it a crutch. He argued that vision-based AI alone would be enough to achieve full autonomy. But real-world data told a different story. Waymo's hybrid stack, combining cameras, radar, and LiDAR, had 10 times fewer false positives, fewer crashes, and far more precise localization in poor visibility. Tesla's autopilot was an impressive driver assist tool. Waymo's driver was a complete replacement for the human mind. While Tesla's cars needed constant supervision, Waymo's operated fully driverless 24/7. By 2024, Waymo's safety record had become a business moat. Insurers offered lower premiums for Waymo rides. Cities offered incentives for reduced emissions and congestion. Consumers trusted it. Public confidence, not hype, became the ultimate differentiator. The human impact. For most people, autonomy isn't about technology, it's about freedom. In Phoenix, Waymo partnered with the VA hospital to shuttle mobility-impaired veterans at 1/3 the cost of traditional transport. Each electric Waymo replaced 2.7 gasoline trips, cutting 15,000 tons of CO2 annually. Commuters got their time back. Elderly passengers regained independence. Families sent kids safely across town. And the blind man who took that first ride in Austin? His experience became the symbol of a revolution, proof that autonomy wasn't about taking control away, but giving it back to those who never had it. The 2025 landscape. Today, in 2025, Waymo provides more than 250,000 paid rides every week across Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Austin. Its average wait time is under 4 minutes. Fleet utilization hovers near 65% during peaks. Operational costs per mile are down 40% since launch. An IPO term sheet is reportedly on the table. And as Waymo prepares to launch in Atlanta, Miami, and Washington, D.C., the technical challenges ahead are as much about politics as engineering. Atlanta's tangled interchanges will stress high-speed merge logic. Miami's torrential rain will test multi-sensor fusion. Washington's motorcades will push real-time rerouting to the limit. But every night, Waymo's global fleet simulates these challenges 100 times faster than real life. Every new scenario solved in one city improves every car worldwide by morning. That's what makes it unbeatable. Why Waymo won. So how did Google's Waymo win the self-driving race? It wasn't luck. It wasn't even first-mover advantage. It was culture. From the start, Waymo didn't chase hype. It chased safety. It didn't promise full self-driving next year. It said, not until it's ready. It refused shortcuts. It refused to release half-baked autonomy to consumers. Every mile mattered. Every crash prevented mattered more. It built its empire on data, not headlines. While competitors demoed progress, Waymo simulated perfection. It outspent, outlearned, and outlasted everyone. And perhaps most importantly, it earned trust. Because in the end, the self-driving race wasn't about who got there first. It was about who got there safely. The road ahead. The road ahead isn't easy. Regulators will tighten oversight. Cities will demand transparency. Human drivers will remain unpredictable. But Waymo has something no one else does, a compounding advantage. Every new car it deploys improves all others. Every scenario solved strengthens the fleet. Every safe ride makes the next one safer. It's a network effect for the real world, where learning travels at the speed of data. And that's something even Tesla's updates can't replicate. The autonomous revolution won't happen overnight, but it's happening. And it started not with a flashy demo, but with a quiet promise from a blind man's first ride through Austin. A promise that technology, done right, can make the world not just smarter, but safer. The standard everyone must chase. In November 2009, when New York Times first revealed Google's secret car project, skeptics laughed. "Autonomous cars are years away," they wrote. "They'll never replace humans." 16 years later, the irony is clear. Humans didn't replace cars. Cars replaced human driving. Waymo didn't just build a self-driving car, it built the standard everyone else must chase. And while Tesla fights lawsuits, Cruise regroups, and startups vanish, Waymo keeps rolling. Quietly, safely, relentlessly forward. Because winning the self-driving race was never about speed. It was about trust. And trust, unlike technology, can't be rushed. If you believe the future of self-driving belongs to those who build it safely, share this story. Because the next time you see a car glide silently through traffic with no one behind the wheel, remember, that future started here. With Google's Waymo and a single ride that changed everything. Stay blessed and stay curious.